I wonder if the Ukraine feels like they're the Americans in that movie Red Dawn right now.
I've never seen it.
I seen it when I was a little kid, like really little. I probably shouldn't have seen it, but I like 8 years old. My parents would let me watch like slasher flicks and like people are getting chopped up on the screen. And my parents just they didn't care. They weren't around. Um, but if I remember that movie, it was like the Russians invade America or something, and these like high schoolers run up into like the mountains, and then they gotta like fight off the Russian invasion. But you gotta imagine, yeah, like I gotta imagine like living in the Ukraine. It's like you're walking around all the time, like are they coming again?
Right.
But I saw this article, and I thought, you know, Russia and China seem like buds sometimes, right?
Mm-hmm.
And if they're sitting back and they're just kind of like flinging text messages back and forth, like old high school pals, and like, hey, did you see what happened in Afghanistan? And they're like sending back some like laughing emojis, and just a couple high school buddies texting back and forth, and it's like, hey, wouldn't it be funny if we both did some kind of major attack right now? It's just can't the thought of this chatter about China going after Taiwan, and if you look at what happened with Afghanistan, and maybe it made us look weak. So does Russia and China go make a move at the same damn time right now?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a good, interesting thought.
And I don't know if that's true or not true. It's just you keep seeing these headlines. In another episode, we talked about China and Taiwan, and I know nothing about that situation. But the thought is, if they wanted Taiwan, they probably would have tried to get Taiwan. But who knows? Is it China? Are they just waiting for the right moment? It seems like it's news headlines and it's not going to happen. Until I saw this, and I just wondered, would it make sense if these two decided to like kind of stress test you, where you had to, where the United States would have to like make a decision or no decision. They would either let it happen, or they'd have to pick one or the other. But it's like, I wonder if it all starts with Afghanistan, because it was kind of botched, and they're maybe looking at this administration. I think Trump would probably botch stuff too, but you felt like looking at Trump that he was unpredictable, and he's like that person that what's the guy? He like Scarface. He probably snorted too much coke and he's sitting around with his finger on the trigger.
Yeah,
like just paranoid, just getting ready to, yeah. Like a lint ball blows across the room and he's like pop pop pop, like just that's kind of how you felt Trump was. And but they're probably looking at Biden like, is now the time. If they're looking at what they're predicting for 2022 and maybe 2024, if the Republicans do kind of get back in, they know they might miss their window. So I just wonder if they're going to take the next 3 years to test us. And if they do, I'm just wondering if they're going to do it in tandem. Like kind of, I mean, I'm not into like military stuff, but I read an article once that if someone was going to try to blow us up, they wouldn't send one missile; they'd fire 500. So you couldn't figure out which one was the real one, if that makes any sense.
Oh, interesting.
To like overwhelm your defense systems, right? They wouldn't fire like 500 nukes at you, but they would fire a whole bunch, hoping that someone sneaked. It's that same concept. If you think someone's weak, you get a couple things popping off at the same time. You'd have to get the whole world together to go fight that. But I think, with COVID and all these crazy things going on, would people even get involved? So,
yeah. The story that's going through my mind, I got a lot of thoughts, a number of things going through my mind at the moment, James. But the first one is, did you see that story recently where the Chinese like are practicing their bombing on like replica US aircraft carriers?
I mean, no, but it reminds me of playing Battleship when I was a little kid.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Well, I remember seeing that headline like a few days ago, which I mean, as you say this, could that be a sign, right? Could that be another thing that you could throw into the bonfire that's growing here? I don't know. I don't know. Well, the second thing too is that when you said the 500 missiles, like I remember a long time ago seeing a 2x2 of like, I guess it was like a prisoner's dilemma kind of two by two, and you say like, okay, well, if Russia arms, then can how does the U.S. respond? And it always ends up where like everybody arms, but nobody can do anything, because if you do anything, then it's mutually assured destruction.
Yeah.
So that was an interesting thought, that you would have to send. I guess 500. Were the 500 all actual missiles, or you just hiding the one in the 499?
I mean, I think they'd probably be real missiles, but they might send like 10 nuclear, and then they would distract you with the rest of them because it would overwhelm your like satellite systems and stuff. And like, again, I don't know anything I'm talking about right now. I just
Neither do
I'm
I.
just regurgitating an article. But the whole thought is you'd overwhelm a system, and
Yeah.
but I just think of it the same thing. It's when you know someone's weak, then you stress them.
Yeah.
And like, well,
Yeah.
how would you stress us? You would have multiple conflicts going on at the same time. Do I think China? Do I think is China? Does China have their wealth right now without us?
Yeah. Probably not. Right.
Where's the incentive to blow us up?
Yeah.
Now, granted, sometimes people just get a chip on their shoulder and then bad things happen. But if you look at it, if they didn't have the manufacturing and the exports, like where are they at financially?
Yeah. Good point.
The world essentially made them wealthy by consumption. So what's going to happen, Canada? They're going to blow us up, and then they're going to come over here and invade us, where we have like 3 weapons per citizen in this country.
You're right.
This is like the last country on earth you probably want to go invade right now.
Yeah, of course.
You wouldn't have to like go like arm people. Everyone's armed. Like, what are you talking about? Like,
Right.
So that thought of like, they're going to come storm the beaches and China's going to take over America after they blow, like, craziness. So where's the incentive for anything at that point? There is no economic incentive. I think they want to protect that zone that they're trying to take over in the ocean there. And maybe if I think they're trying to send a signal that if we send a aircraft carrier through there, that they'll bomb it, right? It's it's kind of like you just trying to piss somebody off. It's like when the dude's out with his new girlfriend and he sees his old girlfriend, and he starts getting his new girlfriend to like give him affection to piss off his ex. I think China's doing that same stuff. Like, hey, if you come through here, we're gonna. But I think Britain went through there. Somebody else didn't go through there because China said stay away. So I just think they're kind of playing mind games. But where's the benefit in any way, shape, or form to start a war with us? Granted, we've had a lot of wars in this world, and it didn't make a lot of sense. on a long enough timeline, there's going to be another one, right?
Yeah, true.
So,
true. What do you think of just the idea that the U.S. is briefing the EU about stuff that's happening really close to them? My thought when I read that was like, are they not watching this by themselves?
I don't know, man. Like, I'm curious where the EU's at. And again, I'm not into geopolitics. I don't know nothing, man. I know, I can tell you roughly how far every Chipotle grill is from my house. Like, that's like the extent of what I know what's going on. You read some news, you got an insider opinion. I got to be the first person to say, I don't know what the hell's going on. I did read a book years ago called The United States of Europe. And I think like looking at that book now versus where's the EU in 10 years? I think Brexit was the first like big step towards that whole thing fundamentally changing, where you might see, the top 3 or 4 economic players end up exiting too at some point. And it's not the United States, right? It's It's a union, but it's kind of disjointed. So are you surprised that we would be dropping them intel?
Yeah, good point. Good point.
So it's there's a lot of stuff going on. It's there's always they say like the best time to strike is when there's chaos. I mean, last year was the most chaos. The problem is everyone was dealing with the chaos.
Right.
And now, now there's we got worker shortages. I ordered a truck back in September. It's November now, and I wasn't expecting to have it by now. But I was hoping that I would have got something from Ford saying, "Hey, we're going to try to get it built in the next 24 months." Like something.
Yeah.
But I still ain't got nothing, and I'm reading like the forums of people with their build orders, and like they ordered stuff in like April, and they're just now getting it, and I'm like, I guess just some basic math over here, some finger math. Like that's 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh man, like 6, 7 months. Like, and things have gotten significantly worse since April. And it's like, so if we had to manufacture things to go to war, we can't even get a Ford F-250 built in 8 months. We probably can't get the semiconductors to go into the electronics we need to really ramp up for a war, right?
Yeah.
So you see where you add in like global supply chain issues, possible healthcare shortages, food shortages, an energy crisis. I just 409 for premium by my house.
Yeah.
Like what the? Now we got this like other turmoil going on that's very economic and supply chain related. Now do you throw in like a couple geopolitical type of issues? Can we deal with it all? I wouldn't trust Trump or Biden to deal with all that. Like I think who would you trust right now to deal with all that? We can't even get this under control.
It's hard. The more things you add onto the pile of like stuff that we have to deal with, it's just it's overwhelming.
It is, and it's at a point where you don't want to think about it. I mentioned a month ago on
Yeah.
one of our episodes, or one of my own episodes, about if we can't get semiconductors. When I ordered my truck, they told me not to get a certain package, and it sounded like a fairly basic semiconductor. Not basic, but it wasn't like some supercomputer type of stuff. And they're like, yeah, if you add that package, it's going to be another 3 months. So it'd probably be like a year before I'd get that truck. So it's like, adding a chip to my F-250 is going to add months. What if we need chips for defense? Like this is a defense issue.
Yeah.
And it's like we're struggling with like there's healthcare shortages. We got an energy crisis. We can't get the ships unloaded at the port, but we're gonna go deal with China attacking Taiwan. What? Like,
Yeah, no hope.
So hey, if you're somebody out there right now that's looking to make a move, this might be it. And that's where I start thinking, my mind changed pretty quickly from China ain't gonna do nothing to like 3 days later. I'm like, oh, they might do something. Because I can see the China and Russia just texting back and forth on like WeChat, like, hey, we should get together and do something, wink wink. And what if Turkey jumps in and starts something, and Russia goes over here, and China, like kind of like a global destabilization, like it just accelerates conflict all over the place at once.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then, hey, Kane, it doesn't seem like Europe really wants to get involved in this stuff.
No, that's absolutely the vibe. Yeah.
Maybe Britain, maybe Australia, like, there's a few players out there that seems like they're always ready to get down. But everyone else is just like, nah, I don't really want to mess with this. So, but again, this ain't my specialty. I'm just talking about stuff I know nothing about.
We're playing battleships.
But I gotta look at this stuff, man. Like, you gotta look at this from a business perspective. How does it affect They're playing battleship, man. Like, B6. Like, oh, like, it's yeah, I gotta look at this. I'm always looking down the road, 2, 3, 4, 5 years in the business world. Investments, like, it's what's going on in the business world, what's going on in the stock market. Like, it's like, damn, you can't even like make any investments anymore without thinking about like geopolitical stuff. Hell,
Right.
even local. Look at the amount of like local political turmoil we're dealing with right now. It's yeah, it would be the time to go start some stuff in Ukraine. It'd be the time to go start some stuff with Taiwan. And these are the two we're talking about. Is there something else out there that we don't even know about? Because this certainly ain't my specialty.
Yeah. It's interesting to look at, interesting to watch.
So I don't know. We'll see. It's maybe this is a Red Dawn Part 2. But everyone's always jockeying. They want to be the number one. They want to be the most feared. And it comes down to the United States, Russia, and China specifically. And I talk about Turkey a lot because you look at the size of their military. They didn't build that military up like that because they wanted people to think they're nice.
Right.
Like Turkey is like, you mess with us, we'll smack the shit out you. Like that's the kind of military they got. And you look at these kind of powers where, I think like UK don't mind jumping in on stuff, but they're not the aggressor.
Mm.
They're not trying to be the pit bull. It's like they say about when you go to like prison, you're supposed to find like someone and you find the biggest person and you try to beat the hell out of them, which sounds good, but what happens if you get beat? Like, they never tell you that part. It's like, you got to go make a name for yourself. You get into prison, you go find the biggest person and you just take them out. And it's like, this doesn't really sound good in theory. And then you end up getting mauled and, not the way it started off. So. Anyways, I don't know. We'll see what happens. Maybe if there's some more turmoil, we'll follow up with an episode.
Sounds good.